kind of the next step would be that we explain the court, the dimensions of the court. So in this court, all the lines, the blue lines, are the court. So in terms of dimensions, and it's not so important for most people, but just so that everybody knows, 7 feet from the net to the no volley zone line. 15 feet from this line to the end. 22 feet on each side of the net. And 20 feet wide. That's the court. Then you can explain what this line is. This is the kitchen line, or it's also called the no volley zone line. And so you can explain that and maybe tell a little bit about why this is so important. And it's so important because most of your points are going to be won if you can get to this line and volley. And number two, it's important because when we talk about rules, you are not able to take the ball out of the air, what we call a volley, while you're over this line. But we talk about that in rules, that's later. The other thing you can explain at this point is that blue line, the periphery of the court, every line, like in tennis, if the ball hits it, it's good. Every line is good when the ball hits the line, with one exception. This line, when it's a serve. So when a person is serving diagonally, that ball has to go beyond that line. It's the only time that a line, ball hitting the line is not good. Okay, so those are all the general things. So then, depending on how many people you have in your class, if you're 1, 2, or 3, then I'll just demonstrate what I would do. If I've got one person in my class for 2 or 3, and I'm the instructor, I'm helping them, I would stand here on this side of the net, and Diego, you're there, Dave, you're there, and Schneider, you're there. And Luce, I need some hellos. And then what we would do, one more. Gracias. Okay, so when we're working with beginners, and this can be not just for the 3 that are up here, but when we're working with beginners, this is the first time they've had a paddle in their hand. You show them the grip, you show them the ready position. The very basic thing to have them do is this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn it over. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why? This gives them an idea of how that ball is bouncing off of the paddle. Gives them an idea. And it warms up their hand. And it gives you an opportunity to tell them they don't need another partner to practice. This can be done by themselves. This can be done at their home. So that's another good reason that you tell them about this. Because if they can consistently do this, they're going to be that much more advanced when they get on the court ready to play. The other thing, I don't have a ball here, but you might just tell them, hey, take a paddle, take a ball, and at your apartment, hit up against the wall. It gives you another idea. So that's one of the things. After that, and I'll go ahead and take the balls. After that, what we would do, because we're talking, these guys are all experienced. These are some of the best players in all of Medellin here. That's true.
Except the one in blue, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we'll forget the fact that these are some of the best players in all of Medellin. We're going to assume they're really new. So for new ones, the coach takes the ball in their hand. Forget the paddle. Excellent. He's a quick learner. That guy. No. Enseñaste muy rápido. ¿Por qué estudiar?
Should charge him double.
Okay, see how Dave had that paddle? So you demonstrate the good point. He had that paddle down, he was in the ready position, and it was a low to high. Paddle, okay.
Drop the paddle.
Even that, even more. Get all the way down. No, the head of the paddle. There. That's what I want to see. This is okay. This is not okay. You were about here. I think it works better. So you continue like this. You point out the good things they're doing. You point out the bad things they're doing.
Maverick shining.
On that one, they didn't follow through. So you just go like this. Super. Excellent. That's
There you go, Maverick.
And this is the soft game. Suave. And once they can continue to get it over and back, maybe it's up here, but once they have consistently gotten over and back, move that down to here. Have that ball going over in this zone, not up here, but that comes a little bit later. Now, if we have more than 3 players, 4 or more, the other ones come here. 3. Here.
There you go.
Now you have your partner. Again, you have to determine, is your partner able to have the paddle or not? If they're beginner, you don't have the paddle. You do in the monitor with the hands. If these guys are good enough. So ellos pueden continuar. So you can keep the paddle with this group. But principiantes, entonces you try it and then you change. So let's try this a little bit. Keep them along. Okay. So, and the emphasis is soft, and follow through. So now, as the instructor, you're watching, and you're giving the comments, be able to follow through. And get back to the ready position, okay, and stop. And so then you describe, okay, when the ball is going too deep, don't go like this, step back. Everything you want to have the ball and the paddle in front of your body. It always needs to be in front of your body. Not like this, simply step back. So you explain those things to this group. So this would be if we have a group of 6, like each trainer and I have done.
Ed, let me give you one point.
Yeah.
En este punto es muy interesante manejar la raqueta como el bastón del ciego. El ciego nunca lleva su bastón hacia atrás. Ese bastón siempre está hacia adelante. Entonces, imaginen el bastón del ciego.
Always in front of you. That's the one he says.
Right. And if it's a trust, step back. Step back one. Okay. So then after this, again, you always have to be reading your group. You have to know if the group is ready for more. If the group's ready for more, let's demonstrate what we call the bounce, tap, push. 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 Explicar.
Tenemos traductor aquí.
Spanish.
Aquí está nuestro traductor.
Schneider. Ellos saben. Okay, so why this? Why this? Because again, this is getting the feel of the paddle, and this exercise enforces the fact you've got to move around. Because I go like this, and maybe when I bounce, I go like this. I have to move. I have to move. Go ahead and try that. Bounce, tap, push. Bounce, tap, push. Please. Hey. Hey. Bounce, tap, push. Bounce, tap, push. Bounce, and bounce. You gotta go. Giving you an example of what an exercise could be that you would do. You decide how long you're going to do it. Okay, so again now, depending on the class, I should say, our classes in Jose también, the beginners class that we do, that are for beginners, aren't one class. They're a series of 3 to 4 classes. A beginner needs at least 3, if not 4 classes. So when we do the intermediate advanced, we're tweaking what they already know. So we're doing a couple exercises. They already know how to fight. But beginners need 3 to 4 series of classes because we go slow, slow, slow. We do this. Then the next week we do something more. But because today we're more like demonstrating some of the progress, the next thing we would do is we would do a blocking. We would show them another important part of the game, which is the blocking game. I can demonstrate this right here. So when you're up at the no volley zone and you're in the ready position and the ball is coming very fast, you demonstrate the block. So the block is, you're here. The ball comes here. The ball comes here. The ball comes here. The ball comes here. Same. The same. The ball comes here, okay, then I have to go like this. And this shot like that. Always, always, always with this in front. So you would maybe do a little demonstration on that. Go ahead. Now, when you're doing the blocking drill, the teacher would stand back because normally the person that is doing the driving is further back. He's not up in a handbag. He's back here. Okay, so that is how you would demonstrate and do an exercise using the blocking drill.
This blocking exercise must be maybe like 3 or 4 classes after the first one.
Exactly. So, Diego made a very good point. This class isn't the first class. This is probably not the second. It's probably the 3rd class for beginners. But it's definitely an exercise that we do in the advanced class, right? So, okay. So then after that, again, you've got to read your group, if your group is ready. But generally, I will also, in the very first class, I will tell about the serve and the return. So let's talk about that. So in the serve, how you would teach this is you would say there are two forms for serving. There is the form where you're taking the ball out of the air. The thing that we need to particularly reinforce to people that are learning a serve is to keep it simple. You want as few moving parts as you can get. Once you have developed a serve that is consistently getting in, do all kinds of different things. Do top spin, do lobs, but for beginners, it's got to be very simple. So what I do is I relate it to other sports that maybe they have played. If you played softball and you pitch softball, same motion. If you bowl, same motion. If you play volleyball, same motion. So maybe if you relate the serve to other sports that they are familiar with, it might reinforce something. But very simply, I go, it's a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the form. 1, 2, 3. That's the form. What is legal? Legal is, for that serve, is the wrist has to be below the waist, has to be below the waist. Oh, by the way, all the serves are underhand. Yeah, I should mention that. For the tennis players, no. All the serves are underhand. So to be legal on that serve, the wrist has to be below the waist, and you've got to be going in an upward arc. An upward arc. This is illegal. 2 reasons. It's too flat, no arc, and number 2, my wrist is above my wrist. Okay, so that's the number 1 form for serving. 2 years ago, they changed the rules. The rules got changed so that you can do a drop serve. The form is the same. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's the same. Now, when you do this serve, and it's your choice, have the people try which one. They try them all. But if you do this, all you can do is drop it. You cannot go like this. No, illegal. Solamente esta. Okay? So, if you decide to use this form for serve, you don't need to pay attention to this above your weights or the arc. Not important. Because the ball can't come up that high. That's the reason. So you don't have to worry about this, and you don't have to worry about that with this serve. So 2 types of serving. So then you maybe have them demonstrate. You have maybe a line. If you've got 6 people in the class, 4 servers, 2 returners. If you've got 1 person in the class, 2 people in the class, just stand up and serve all the way to one side, go on the other side, serve it back. Once you have them serving consistently and they're getting it diagonally, the 3 things that we want to teach a server to do. Number 1. No. Okay.
Same service.
Get it in. Get it in.
Simple.
Number 2. What we want the serve to do. We want the serve to, 1, get in. Number 2, get a knee. Number 3, move it around. So those are the 3 things a server wants to do. What does a returner want to do? And then you can go and coach the return. The returner wants to return it deep and generally in the middle. is what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
Okay. So those are the things that a returner would want to do. Then, so at least the first or the second clinic for beginners, this is as far as you'd want to go. Then let me refer my notes. And then the next thing you may have them do is to, and we would have done this after the dink, would serve a drop to hit a drive. So after the dink, then maybe you'd have them so that they get the feel for how hard they have to hit a ball when they're here. So you do, and that's what we call a drive. A drive is a ball from anywhere toward the back that you're hitting, and you're hitting it hard, a lot of velocity, and deep. That's a drive. You don't even mention anything about the third shot drop, the fifth shot drop, the seventh shot drop. That's like in the
That's intermediate, right?
fourth clinic. So, but all of these you can do. Serve, drive, deep, return, and leave it at that for them. Then I would go in, because everybody at this time is, hey, when do we play? When do we play? When do we play? Right? We don't play. We don't play. We're learning as we go, and so the reward of coming back for the second or third clinic is that eventually you get to play. But I think it's really important that we don't focus so much on, I gotta play a game. It comes. So, at this point, I think what we would do is we talk about the rules, because before you can play a game, you've got to know the rules, right? So the things that you would talk about for the rules. You can't let the ball bounce 2 times or more on your side. You can take it out of the air, or you can let it bounce once, but it can't bounce twice. So that's a basic rule. Serving. Both players serve. You have the first server until they lose, and the second person on that team until they lose, and then it's like volleyball, it's side out. And that team, the same thing. The no volley, you explain that. So that the serving team has to let it bounce once before they attack. The returning team hits it and runs to this line as best they can under control. You would explain that the game is played to 11 points. That's, all of these things are very basic, but that's all they need to know at this point in the development. How to serve, it's got to go diagonal, it's got to go in beyond the line, this, that, no volleys in this zone, etc., and you play to 11, win by 2. Play to 11, win by 2. So those are the basic rules. Let me just take a look at, okay, so then that is about as far as I would go with beginners. So come on in a little bit closer, guys. The things that I think that all of us need to do as teachers are, number 1, emphasize fun. So make sure everybody is having fun. Don't worry about playing games. Don't worry about scoring. Scoring will come in lesson number 3 because it can be a little confusing. So don't worry about trying to teach them how to score, right? At this level, the first, second, third time they're coming out, don't worry about scoring. Maybe, Lucid suggested this, just keep track of points. That team served, let's play. Okay, we got 1 point. Okay, we continue. Okay, now we got 2 points. Something like that, because everybody kind of wants to know how they did. Did they win a point or not? Do that, but don't go into the 5, 4, 1, 6, 4, 2, too confusing at this level. No need for strategy. No need for that third shot drop. No need for stay, watch, decide. No earnings, ATPs, all of that comes later. Keep it very basic for these first times. Let me just see. Okay, so. Oh, and then, but there's nothing wrong in having them, try to, again, you've got to read your audience. If you've got 4 players, let's say, that you think are already, they can consistently get it back, over, back, consistently, then maybe you say, hey, let's try to play a game, but a game is only by points, not by a regular game, and let's kind of keep track of that. Or even going back to one of the things that we did at the clinics with the universities, even when the kids were up here at the no volley zone going back and forth, we can't, how many times they can get it over? 1, 2, 3, oh, you got up to 10, okay, can you get to 12? And do that, because that kind of gets them into the idea of scoring and this and that. So that's certainly something can be done. But to do an official game, no, not at this point. Now, the most important thing is, what do we do when the game or the session is over? We shake hands. But we don't shake hands like normal, we shake hands like this. Thank you. Gracias. So that is costumbre de pickleball. That's a pickleball custom.
Cultura.
So, cultura. No costumbre.
Could be part of the culture.
Okay. So, that's all I wanted to do for today. Yeah.
When I first started playing the game, you came up to me right away and you said, "This is pickleball. This is a friendly, welcoming sport. We try to make it a friendly, fun, welcoming sport for everyone." You didn't bring that part of the comments about it. Is there something you bring up to it?
Absolutely. I mean, we can go into like real beginner. I go into why this sport. I don't go into much history anymore. Nobody cares. But I do go into this. Why this sport is growing so much. Why is this sport growing so much? Number one, it's easy to learn. It's inexpensive. You don't need a lot of space. You don't need a lot of equipment. It's social. Men can play with women. Old women, my kid can play with old men. It doesn't matter. Everybody can play together depending on your level. All of these things, you can absolutely go into that, because if somebody is, depending on your audience, if you're trying to convince a Nelson that he needs to put it into his university program, I'm absolutely telling him all of the benefits for it, because I'm trying to sell him on the sport. You don't have to sell the sport that hard, as you know. Once somebody gets out there and they start playing, they start to get, they start to love the game, and then the unfortunate thing is you do start to get addicted to it. Right. There's always a chance you're going to get addicted, okay? So anyway, that's it. Any more questions? Preguntas. Más.
That's for beginners.
That's for beginners. Yeah. So once you have the people that are already playing, maybe they're a 3.0, a 3.5, but they want to be a 4.0, then that's a completely different class. Because then what we do in Schneider and Jose, Jairo, and my class is, this is the structure for our class. 1.5 hours. 1 hour is not enough. 2 hours is too much. I found doing these, 1.5 hours is a good length of time. How do we do it in those 1.5 hours? We do more or less 10 minutes of warm-ups, And warm-ups, I'm talking about exercises. We do all of this. We do all kinds of different things that we showed this morning. So we do that for at least 10 minutes. Then we do our dinking exercise for at least 10 to 15 minutes. And we might do a game. There's a game called Dingles that we do. And I can demonstrate that too. The people to play the Dingles game have to already be able to get it over and diagonally. So they have to have a few skills, not too many, but a few. So we might do that. We'll do the blocking. We'll do a volley. So we'll warm up our hands. We do all of that. Okay. So then I like to have 2 different exercises that we concentrate on that 1.5 hour clinic. Those 2 exercises could be serve, return. That's one exercise. And we'll do that for 15 or 20 minutes, right? And we will demonstrate that the returner is not just returning, they're returning and running to the no volley zone. We'll demonstrate to the server, you have to get it deep, you have to get it in, you have to get it very side to side. Those are the things we do in a serve volley or a serve return drill. The other thing that we would do in a different exercise, a different drill, would be a blocking drill. So we fire balls at them. A third exercise we would do would be a very common mistake that I see a lot of players all the way up to the 4.0s and above doing, and that is when their team is serving and their partner is serving, they generally are not staying back. What was the 3?
Serve and stay.
Well, it's serve and stay for the server, but I'm talking about the partner of the server who rushes in too soon before they know what that third shot's going to be. So you have to wait, watch, decide. Those are the 3 terms. But that's in our advanced class. But we would do a drill and a demonstration of that, because that's a skill that needs to be developed. We might do a volley, we might do all of those things. Here's the most important thing that I have found in that 1.5 hour clinic. It's the last 30 minutes. Why? The last 30 minutes of that 1.5 hour class, we do gameplay. And gameplay is this, where you've got a team here and a team there, and the coaches are on the side, and we go, okay, we're going to do an actual point. We're going to play points. Why is this good? Because at the level of the advanced, now as the coach, we're watching where they're moving, what they're doing, and the decisions that they're making. And we will blow the whistle when we see something that they did really well, and we blow the whistle when we see something that we think we can have them improve upon. That 30 minutes from the clinics I did in Mexico and the ones I've done here, the people are going, that's what I needed. That's the part that all of a sudden it started to make sense, because you're pointing out when I lob, when I come to the net, when I stay back, and all of that. All of that is in that last 30 minutes of actual gameplay. So that's how we structure a 1.5 hour advanced clinic.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. Aplauso.
Yeah.
Gracias.
So anyway, I hope that this helps. If anybody, once you go out and you try, you guys are doing a great job. Yvonne and Camilo and everybody here is helping as much as they can, and that's a part of Pickleball Medellin, and we want to continue. So if I can help in any manner, we're going to have an exhibition tomorrow, and we're going to teach some other university students. Anything I can help with, let me know. If you have a situation that comes up in let's say a clinic or a class, and oh geez, I got this situation. I mean, I'm smiling a little bit here because it just triggered another memory of mine that I have. Which, so I was in the sales business my whole life, and one of the things I realized is